Raleigh is a really popular place to live right now, but it's not a good fit for everyone. Many of the clients I've helped move to Raleigh are not bothered by the negatives and happily live in Raleigh for many years. But some people cross Raleigh off their list from the start upon hearing these downsides. So here are the top 5 reasons I've seen people avoid Raleigh, North Carolina. Not too long ago, Raleigh was voted the best place to live in the country. And while it's still in the top 10, the single driver for its slight drop is the cost escalation it's experienced. All over the country saw price increases from COVID, but this started in Raleigh even before that. As once an area is named one of the best places to live, the word is out and the demand begins to rise. Raleigh used to consistently be much less than the national average from a cost of living perspective, regularly in the 80s and 90%, but now it's hovering right at the national average. And Raleigh still remains relatively affordable compared to other larger cities in the US when thinking of restaurants and entertainment, gas, transportation, and more, but its housing costs have shifted away from being a major pro. In 2005, Raleigh's average home price was just $220,000, with an average price per square foot of $103. Today, Raleigh's average home price is $595,000, with an average price per square foot of $256. That's a major jump. And while Raleigh homes are still relatively affordable when compared to other large cities, it's now higher than the national average. So the thought of Raleigh having very large lots and nice houses for very affordable prices is not the reality anymore. And when some people really look into what they get for their money, they typically begin either looking at Raleigh's more affordable suburbs or simply look elsewhere. A lot of this does depend on where you're coming from too, as many from California and the Northeast still find Raleigh's prices very affordable. But with the increased demand for the area, Raleigh has desperately tried to keep up, and that has led to the next reason to avoid Raleigh, and that's its growing pains as a whole. Raleigh is growing rapidly, and its infrastructure has been undergoing significant upgrades, which naturally leads to disruptions in people's everyday lives. This is mostly in the form of the roadway expansions, where the NCDOT recently completed the I-40 expansions just south of town and are now working on I-440 by the fairgrounds and NC State. These areas have been bottlenecks for years and desperately need these upgrades, but getting there is creating an even larger headache than before. But Raleigh hasn't been able to keep up everywhere, as even though Raleigh is still looked at as one of the best large cities to drive in the country, it doesn't always feel that way here as the population increases have really clogged up some of the main roadways throughout the city. And if you don't like the sight of tower cranes and frustrations of closed off sidewalks downtown, it doesn't appear there will be any relief of that anytime soon with Raleigh's ambitious plans downtown. Now this next one is a shock to many, and that's the weather. Raleigh's weather is typically thought of as a pro for moving here, and it is as a whole as it has great spring and fall weather, mild winters, and generally short periods of time in the summer where it's really hot. But people are surprised by how hot it can feel in Raleigh, and that's due to the humidity. It's not to the level of Florida by any means, but a 90-degree day can have a heat index of 100 degrees because of the humidity. So while many from the southwestern US are used to the dry heat at well over 100 degrees in the summer, you may not initially think Raleigh is too bad on paper in the 80s and 90s. But I'm here to tell you that humidity does make a huge difference. So again, Raleigh doesn't have Florida, Texas, or Las Vegas heat, but it does get pretty hot for a couple of months in the summer. This next reason is probably the main reason for most people, and in my opinion, the most misunderstood. But that's Raleigh's entertainment scene, which includes restaurants, bars, concerts, sports, and more. Over the past 10 years, Raleigh has significantly grown in the entertainment department. It has added hundreds of new restaurants and bars alone per year during that time. There's newer concert venues, the college sports scene is always a major draw, and the Carolina Hurricanes brought professional sports to Raleigh. But Raleigh overall could be thought of as a more relaxed vibe, with a focus on small business and local entertainment that provides more of a small town feel. Downtown Raleigh is growing, but will not feel anything like cities with large downtowns from a bar and nightlife perspective, making it less attractive for those needing an endless supply of bars and clubs to routinely visit. And beyond the NHL in Raleigh, the sports scene is college-based, and we are known for our love of tailgating. So it has more of the college town vibe than a larger city that has all the major professional sports. So if you're looking for a vibrant nightlife and options to see any professional sport you want to on a daily basis, Raleigh is not the place for you. But again, Raleigh has plenty to do, just know that it has a more low-key vibe. This last category will come up as a surprise to some because the greater Raleigh area is known to have some great neighborhoods. But I will say that neighborhoods within Raleigh itself are not what most people expect. And after this, if anyone would like to know about where to live in Raleigh, please feel free to reach out. First off, the mental model that most have of Raleigh is a southern city where you can get a lot of land. And that's no longer the case. Some of the older neighborhoods around Raleigh will sometimes come with a half an acre lot, up to an acre if you're lucky, but generally lot sizes are between a quarter of an acre and a half an acre in size. If you want larger lots, you'll have to look in Raleigh suburbs and sometimes even beyond that. Also, Raleigh is very spread out and it's not very walkable at all. You will need a car even if you live in downtown Raleigh. But perhaps the biggest surprise within Raleigh's neighborhoods is that there isn't any land left for new construction neighborhoods. So Raleigh does not have a master plan type community with the brand new houses and amazing amenities. If you want those neighborhoods, Raleigh suburbs have plenty of them, but they aren't within Raleigh itself. You can get a new construction home in Raleigh, but it will not be within a larger community as it's likely a tear down and a rebuild in an existing neighborhood, or it'll just be a small street of new homes. And if you want amenities, very few neighborhoods even have a neighborhood pool. You'll have to join a nearby country club to have that experience, or again, look to the suburbs. Many of Raleigh's neighborhoods also feel very disjointed, especially inside of I-540. There's a wide mix of architecture and styles, and with the teardowns and rebuilds, it's common to see a brand new $3 million home right next to an existing ranch-style home valued at $500,000. You will still feel a sense of community in these neighborhoods, and they are great for families as you'll see so many all around of Raleigh's neighborhoods. But it is a very different feel inside Raleigh proper than most initially expect, and this ultimately leads many people to Raleigh suburbs instead of Raleigh itself. If you want to learn more about what makes Raleigh so attractive to relocate to, check out our video here, and don't miss our ultimate rankings of the best neighborhoods in the greater Raleigh area.